Tonight, we are getting clarification about a controversial sentence given to an admitted sex offender.
Last week, Douglas Eugene Saltzman was sentenced to 210 days in jail after pleading guilty to 3 charges of sexual exploitation of a minor.
Fox 13's John Franke explains why the punishment was not out of the ordinary.
That sentence angered many people. In fact, some 20,000 people signed an online petition to recall the judge. But the head of the Utah Sentencing Commission says any anger directed at that judge is unfair.
The judge in this case did everything right. That's the bottom line.
There are few cases that stir up more emotion than those involving abuse of children. Douglas Saltzman pleaded guilty to 3 charges of sexual exploitation of a minor after investigators allege they found 13,000 images of child porn on his devices.
In the end, he was never convicted of possessing 13,000 images. He was convicted of possessing 3 images, which is still very serious and should be taken very seriously.
Marshall Thompson is the director of the Utah Sentencing Commission.
We don't do guidelines based on 13,000 images. We do the guidelines based on 3 images that were proven or admitted to.
This 67-page document details those sentencing guidelines. They take into account criminal history and the severity of the crime.
These are not mandatory, they're voluntary.
But in this case, both the prosecution and the defense agreed to the sentence. The Utah Attorney General's office prosecuted the case. In a revised statement, they said in part, quote, "The prosecutor stipulated to the sentence imposed by the court because it was the presumptive sentence under the sentencing guidelines."
The prosecution and the defense, and everybody agrees that it's a just outcome. Really, he would have been irresponsible to have done anything otherwise.
While Saltzman won't serve any time in prison, he faces 4 years on probation, and authorities will monitor his activity on the internet.
If he messes up once, he's going to go to prison for a very, very, very long time.
Thompson says prison at first isn't always the answer.
You have to be really smart about the way you use incarceration. It's not about being tough or lenient, it's about being smart.
Instead of targeting a judge,
Definitely don't want to go after a judge or a prosecutor or a single individual.
he says the Sentencing Commission will listen to citizens who believe the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
I do appreciate everyone's passion and concern on this topic. Our children and the safety of not just our children, but children all around the world is incredibly important.
And Saltzman will register as a sex offender. If you want to read those sentencing guidelines to see for yourself how they work, we have that link on our website. In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.